I'd like to start with a short introduction about EVBox. So we manufacture, we design, we create charging solutions for electric vehicles. So that could be the charging stations that you might have at your house where you can charge overnight. It's a slower station. We create big stations next to highways that charge really fast, so they could charge within a couple of minutes, depending on the kilowatts that the station allows. And then we create the software to run the stations as well as to manage the stations. And I think from a regulatory perspective and from a product perspective, we're in a really interesting space, and we're kind of nestled between these giants of industry. We've got automotive laws on the one hand, we're dealing with energy on the other hand, and there's the big digital space in the middle. So as a legal team, we have quite a lot to look after. And I think what I would like to bring across today together with Katja is that our belief in designing ethics into our products, and then that means sustainability as well as privacy, helps us really interpret the laws and really see where we're going, because there's just so much to look at for us. So on my part, sustainability is a main cornerstone of our strategy, not just as a company, but as an industry as well. So as an industry, of course, we believe that EV charging and EV driving is a solution to meeting all of the green goals that are being set across the globe, and we want to play a big part in that. If you look at our supply chain, for example, we're not just looking at pumping out as many of these chargers and selling them as quickly as we can. We're really looking at how do we make this as responsible as possible. So for example, that means looking at different materials that might not be your normal conventional plastics, but important alternatives that are durable as well as sustainable. We also want to look at how not just our supply chain, or not just EV charging and electric driving in general, leads to meeting the green goals. We also are trying to look at how we as a company are meeting our different emission goals. So let's look at our scope 1, 2, and 3. Let's help our customers look at how they can become more sustainable in general. Why is data important in this? It's obviously we want to be able to say, hey, if you do this, then that contributes X amount to becoming more sustainable as a company, just like we are trying to do within our supply chain. So we're really active in trying to speak to all of our vendors on creating a more responsible product. I will move to the next slide. So then we do something that we call is data enablement by design, which goes hand in hand with privacy by design. So the first use case I wanted to share is the serviceability. So we're looking at these big stations, how are they doing in the field? We need to know, we want to know all the diagnostics to be able to either service the station as quickly as we can, but also we want to use that data to improve our products moving forward. Obviously, you can imagine there's quite a lot of stations in public spaces. They're vulnerable to however people interact with them. It's not always the friendliest way. So we want to know, and we want to collect data on that and use that for our future product design. We believe that that again helps us create more sustainable products that will last as long as possible. Then we also believe within our industry, and especially also at EVBox, that it's important to create a connected EV charging ecosystem. And what I mean with that is that one of the biggest blockers for people to switch to EV driving is range anxiety. So you don't want to be driving around not knowing where you can find your EV charging station. Therefore, it's really important that we're not just selling our EVBox stations, but that we're making them interoperable with all sorts of other systems. For us, that means we're working a lot together on open standards, the use of open standards, and looking at how to best and responsibly use these to drive our business forward, but also work with our competitors and other companies in the ecosystem to create this responsible system so that you, as a driver, can just drive around, not care about the brand, but plug in your car and get the best service possible. It's a big challenge for us, as I said. It's a complicated regulatory industry where we're not just looking at the digital package, which I would say fits the data side, the Data Act, all of the new laws that are coming into place there, together with, of course, privacy. But we're also looking at other opportunities. What are the car manufacturers doing? How can we make sure that we create this interoperable system? Maybe we would like to communicate a little bit more with the car and get some data from the vehicles, again, to improve our systems and to create this industry that we believe is essential for the green goals. Now, Katja and I have been working a lot recently on developing a new legal approach, or a new approach for our legal team. And I'm going to hand it over to Katja here, who's able to tell you more about that.
Thank you, Nane. Indeed, what I want to focus on is ethical approach and privacy by design and ethics in our strategy. As you've heard from Nane, we're of course interested in data, and we are also a young industry, so we are also still figuring out what type of data we need to achieve our goals. Even though we want more data in a sense, but we want to do it in an ethical way. And I want to emphasize ethics over compliance here. We actually, when we first came up with the title, we thought about finding the right balance between developing our business and the industry and compliance. But then we discussed it, and we thought compliance is, in a way, it talks about how do we process personal data in a compliant way, while ethics for us is, do we even want personal data? Do we need to collect that data? And that's exactly our focus. So what we think is that we should be a strong player on the market, delivering our solutions in an ethical way with a minimum amount of personal data. So we need to find a way to embed in our products, so this is about privacy by design, minimize personal data or find the ways to anonymize the data. We also want to be transparent with with the individuals, with drivers who use our solutions, want to be transparent in how we process personal data, to which extent we want to, of course, provide the control to the users to choose, also depending on the service, what kind of data is processed, and all the basic services should be with the minimum data, as minimum as possible. And of course, we want to also give control to the users to be able to easily delete data and so on.